Ladies and gentlemen, welcome again to this show, The Cardinal Talk, a show that comes to you on LTN. On this show, we normally talk about things that we think are so pertinent into our very political material. Now, today we want to continue with our talk. It's going to be interesting. I know everybody around Kenya today is talking about the Okoa Kenya flop. And with me today is the panel of Samson Ojia, who is Director of Earthy Water, and also have a businessman and a staunch ODM member of Starehe, Mr. Gitonga Wadhanga. Welcome, gentlemen, in this show, and I hope we are going to have happening the best way it can. Now, I'm going to be your host, and there's a reason why I feel it's interesting. I will begin with Mr. Samson Ojia, who on your side, you must have breathed, you must have had a very deep sigh of relief when Hassan said that now Okoa Kenya has flopped.
What do you mean by relief, actually? If Okoa Kenya was actually Kenyan initiative, then you cannot tell me that I have a relief. That actually, if the issue of referendum is anchored in the constitution, but you must follow the due process so that you arrive into what you want to achieve. Here is a case whereby, I don't know why, and it started well saying that it's a flop. It's a flop simply because, not because of IEBC. It's because the people who went to the ground to collect the signatures of Kenyans, somebody was given that mandate. But going there, using one name, changing the same ID, so that is the problem actually we have. I fail to understand that even now some people still have power in court, instead of actually, because they had a secretariat. Secretariat need to explain exactly what happened so that the IEBC can have fake actually because if idea was good, then Kenyans gave their signatures. So but now here's a case whereby you write somebody's name 4 times in one book. Now what do you want the IEBC to do?
Mr. Gitonga, your secretariat must answer these questions. If indeed they fail to provide the valid signatures to IEBC, or there's something that you people are reading beyond that.
Okay, first and foremost, the putsch for change in the freedom has not flopped.
It has not flopped?
It has not flopped.
According to you, it's not flopped?
It has not flopped. Okay? I've only encountered a bump.
But we don't have an Okoa Kenya initiative anymore.
It is still ongoing. And the requirement is that the popular initiative, you provide 1 million signatures. It does not specify how you bring them, whether you take 200,000 this week, 200,000 the following week, or 200,000 or 500,000. Now, what we are going to do in Okoa is that now we are going to provide. Even as we seek clarification, we are going to provide the remaining
deficit.
Yes, like 200,000.
You seek clarification from who?
Like 200,000.
You seek clarification from
we'll
who?
seek clarification from IEBC. They tell us, okay, that since they are telling us that about 50% of what Okoa presented as signatures, they tell us that they are telling us now that every signature was duplicated. That one signature, all signatures were like double.
Yes.
They give us that clarification. We don't,
but,
of course.
People were called there yesterday. Journalists were there yesterday, my friend. Journalists were called yesterday. COD was supposed to send 2 people. Civil society had also already sent 2 people. You did not send the people because No, people were there and they were verifying those people.
Yesterday.
Yes. So that's what I'm simply saying.
Seriously, what verification?
You see, there's a mistake.
What verification
I want
you
to
do?
say this. Can you listen to this?
There
was a mistake which actually IEBC have identified, which COD did not actually have. Maybe I don't know whether the capacity to verify. Now here is a case whereby even you are given chance to go and see what you are saying, you never send your 2 people.
One thing is, there's no way you are gonna send 2 people to verify on books. Do you know how many books those were?
I agree, but did you send people yesterday to go and see exactly what was happening?
I'm not aware. That one I can't vouch for that.
Yes.
And secondly, IEBC during this process has not engaged COD at all. Throughout the process.
Yes.
They have not. Yes. They have actually treated COD with the Okoa Kenya initiative with contempt. They even
In terms of what?
in everything they did. They even refused to meet when the CORD leadership went to the ABC offices. They even refused to meet them. They did not even give any apologies. And even when they were releasing now the results of their findings, they did not even engage CORD. They first went to the media. You know them. They did not. They did not engage the client first.
Can I say something?
Just a minute now, gentlemen. Now, the fact is, this initiative, as it is right now, is not moving. It can't move.
Yes.
What we want to actually get into is to know whether CORD and his secretariat, rather Okoa and his secretariat, actually did the work they were supposed to do. Because initially there were like 5 million signatures. Out of these, CORD actually verified and synthesized only 1.6 million votes. That those ones they actually presented to IEBC. Eventually, IEBC now says that, of 1.6 that you gave us, we can't even find a threshold of 1 million signatures which are good. Now, the problem that I want us to really get here, we don't have any clear law that guides referendums in this country. Yes. Now, is this also a weakness that perhaps somebody was trying to explore?
Well, even if it's a weakness, number one, we've not gone into the law per se, the way you are putting it. We are talking about those signatures themselves. When you talk about signatures, maybe people should not confuse here. IBC do not have the record of the signature per se. What we are talking about is a person who is a registered voter registering, so that even though you append your signature or using your thumb, that is actually valid. What we are only saying is that at the very level of collecting this, what was brought to IEBC is like one ID with the one name, maybe registered in one book 3 or 4 times, meaning that there's somebody who was sleeping on his job. But again, I want to say this, Nick. Yes, law about the referendum, maybe there are some laws which are not there actually for us on how we need to package ourselves going for referendum. But you see that now we are not talking about the law here, because now the way he's putting it, they still have a chance to do what? To bring some more names if they want to go for a referendum. Which to me, let me tell you, maybe let me bring another scenario which maybe you don't know. CORD was not actually prepared to go for referendum. CORD was looking for a way to create a referendum as a springboard for them to become irrelevant in 2017. And that's why...
Which means they wanted a referendum.
Yes, listen to this.
No.
Even bringing books which actually people signed 4 times was also part of CORD to create confusion, because the bottom line is that they don't want us to go with election with IEBC. So the war is with IEBC. You get the point? Now, if these things are true, I saw those books when they were down the streets. Some people were registered like this, and the other end there was a flip which they were going with it. Let CORD produce that one to IEBC. Now tell us that if you are lying, you will find that in fact CORD did this thing intentionally. They were not for referendum. They wanted to create confusion.
Obviously, sir.
You are contradicting yourself. You say on one hand, CORD did not want really to go for the referendum, and then on the other hand, you say
confusion.
That they wanted it as a springboard for the next elections. Of course, CORD was committed to, changing IEBC.
Yes.
And they wanted
changing IEBC.
That was.
You can repeat that.
Yes,
to the citizen.
that is one. That was one of the referendum.
Okay.
That was one of the referendum issues.
Okay.
We are not hiding that.
Yes.
Of course, we had a big issue with IEBC. Big time. All right. So. Changing IBC, the way it is constituted,
yes.
and the way it also opened as some electoral laws. Of course, that were part of the referendum.
Referendum.
Yes. So when you come and say the CORD was not interested in having a referendum, of course you are, of course you are giving false information.
So are you telling Kenyans that IEBC is the one who went and collected your signatures, or you are the one who collected your signatures? Then what happened?
One thing is, you don't want to tell us, you don't want to come here and tell us that all the signatures here that we took were like,
we are not saying that
all right, because
not
even if there were errors, and those ones they do happen,
okay.
Even if there are errors somewhere here and there, there's no way that 50% of what we took could have been erroneous or was your prediction.
But accept that there were errors first.
Errors will always be there.
No, it was there, isn't it?
Of course, errors will be there.
Cool down, gentlemen. Now, from your end, you read some sinister motives about the whole process of verification by IEBC?
One thing is, ABC takes more than enough time to verify. All right? We took the signatures to them in, I think, in September.
November.
We were supposed to have finished this exercise even by February, right? But they delayed it. They were not even communicating at all with Okoa, Kenya. They had been pushed with the code leadership went there. Then they were promised it to be done within 10 days. After 10 days, nothing had happened. They went back to IEBC after about another 2 weeks. I think about 20 days. Nothing was happening. Then after they went, 2 days after that is when the Jubilee started saying the Okoa Kenya signatures were fake. They were gotten from M-Pesa agents. then a day or two later, is when Hassan releases his report.
I read something in the book.
Hassan was waiting for go ahead from Jubilee to.
I want to say this. These are allegations which actually cannot even help CORD and any other person. I saw the other day, even the leaders of CORD, the two principals sitting down, and I was actually very annoyed seeing Professor Nyong'o sitting the other side and Rengo this side, and the two people, Watangula and Kalonzo Musyoka, that telling us they want to lead even mass action. Do Kalonzo believe in any reform at all? He doesn't believe. And that's what I was telling you. CORD was not for actual referendum per se. CORD want actually for people to go for mass action because they do not have an agenda for 2017. So you should not actually create a very big pot and you're cooking nothing inside. Get the point?
Okay, now a big pot cooking nothing inside. Yes. That's funny. Now let me come back to you on signatures. Is there any possibility that CORD actually made mistakes by not getting the right signatures?
Accept first.
Let's get in the crystal ball here. What actually happened? Do you think CORD might have, that means that, made mistakes collecting signatures and taking very, 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 very bad signatures to the IBC? Is that a possibility?
What happened here is these signatures, we had CORD had corrected a lot of signatures, and they actually took a lot of time for them to go through the booklets before they submitted. And we have Okoa Kenya, they have the information, they have the backup.
Okay.
They have backup.
Then let them take the backup.
So I would wait, with time they will be releasing the information they have. But there is no way as well that they could have, even if there were errors, there is no way that that we could have submitted signatures that were 50% faulty. Seriously?
No, but what I'm saying,
like that.
Have you gone and seen your books? That's the question, because those books still belong to CORD. Have you gone into IEBC and verify and come up with a record? That's what I'm simply saying. Please, don't actually, this idea of militant all the time, even when you are on the wrong, is not helping you.
The books probably that you said that IBC produced were some of the books that they bought out there, or that they wrote from the agents. And then they went and filled their own details. They drew those two animals for signatures, and that is what they are presenting to the public.
Drawing figures of cows and sheep and everything.
Those are books.
Okay, now we want to go for the break, gentlemen. And as we prepare to go for the break, I want us to now come back and talk about now what would be the possible scenario out of this. I know on the Jubilee side, you guys look at this thing like it's dry and home and dry, and there's no need of going into it. On the side of CORD, do you think this drive is still very valid? Is it still, do you still have some energy left to continue this drive, or all is lost? I think coming back, let's look at this thing in that perspective. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Cardinal Talk Show coming to you live here in Nairobi. We are trying to be with you in every aspect of Kenyan political terrain. Like now, it's now Okoa Kenya versus IEBC. Who are we blaming here? Don't go away. I'll be back soon with my panelists. It's gonna even get hotter. Dogoy. Welcome back. This is the Cardinal Talk Show. Now I'm going direct into the question. We know now for Jubilee It's home and dry. There's no need for referendum. It's a waste of time. You want to engage Kenyans for no reason. For CORD now, it's again back to the drawing board. You've got to find something else. You've got to revive Okoa Kenya. You've got to come up with another idea that would actually help you guys realize what you wanted.
I don't want you to say that we're celebrating from Jubilee point of view, because in fact,
what do they?
No, we are not celebrating. What I know, first of all, let's be sincere. Even the CORD brigade, I think you're also taking Honorable Raila for a ride, because they want the old man to deal, to work on his own, to do all these things. If he's not there, people like Nyong'o are just sleeping on their job. You get the point? They're only, in fact, you want Baba to go down the street to collect the signatures. Now you give some secretariat led by some, I don't know, who are these people in this secretariat? So we are not celebrating, because we know, number one, we are not prepared. Actually, this country is not prepared for, for referendum. We are going for election 2017. We do not have actually money to budget for two actually elections.
Yeah, but you have money.
But you see,
you have money for anywhere else. You have money to go anywhere, but you don't have money for.
But anywhere else is important.
When will the country ever be ready for referendum? You know, when we came from elections, we started talking about referendum. People came up with that crap. We are not. They've just come from elections. We cannot go. You cannot go into a referendum. Now the landscape has changed. We cannot go into a referendum because we are about to go into elections. But when are we ever going? When are we ever going to be ready?
But is referendum, that referendum is important, serious. It's not important.
The thing is, this issue of IEBC and the way the IEBC has treated the referendum is actually very, very serious. You remember in 2007, people urged Kibaki on the way that he was appointing commissioners unilaterally, and eventually we ended up with a chaotic election. When CORD here, they push, they choose to use the available opportunities of changing laws constitutionally, and then it's sabotaged. It's sabotaged by a body that is singing to the tune of the executive of the day. It is set a very dangerous precedent.
Which one now?
This is not about just Okoa, the Okoa Kenya initiative. It's about really the rule of law in this country, how we respect the constitution, and how the Kenyans are going to behave later.
But we need to take it this way.
I'm coming to you with this question. Now, after all this, is CORD still willing to carry on with the initiative, or it's all over?
As we speak, when we are seeking clarification now from IEBC, CORD has started collecting more signatures.
As we speak right now.
As we speak.
So the drive is on still.
Yes, to fill the gap of 200,000 signatures. We collect about 500, 300.
I want to say this, Nick. You do not need to seek a clarification from IEBC. You need to seek clarification from your secretariat, because they are the ones who took those books to IEBC. And because you people, you are too militant, even where you do not. Because at the end of the day,
secretariat is the one actually that is seeking
clarification. No. They are seeking clarification on the books. Have they said that the book A, which now you are giving us, is not actually the book which we brought inside there? They've not done that. They've not done that. The only thing.
How do you know? You don't know. There's only that they have not got to the media.
I'm in this country and very informed. As far as all this are concerned, they are in the public domain. There's nothing which is different.
They are doing it officially. They are waiting for the need to give them the information they had, and of course the IEBC, fast. It gives
Did you listen? Did you listen to the press conference? No. The CORD called a press conference by then, which actually the two principals were speaking. Did you listen to what they were saying?
By then, Nani had not given them the communication officially. Even IEBC.
Yes.
Because IEBC first, it gives it first reports to Jubilee, then to the media, and then later on to CORD.
I think
so. The process
you need to own up. Please, you need to own up. First of all, CORD own up. If you don't want to own up everything, blames all the time, it's not going to help you.
Okay, now let me ask a question here. Jubilee, looking at the presidential petition last time, there were very many registers that actually Jubilee brought in as books of, should I say, the voter register books.
Jubilee, you're right.
No, IEBC. For records, it's IEBC, not Jubilee. For record, it is IEBC.
Yes.
Brought to the court very many books.
Yes.
Green, black, what all these books were there. Yes. Now, I don't know which book particularly the IBC used? Do you think
Which book are you using?
You think? Do
Which
you think?
book are you
I
using?
want to say
Seriously,
this.
which
No,
book
just a
are you
minute.
using?
No, he can't tell us. Honestly, he can't tell us that.
I want to say
Honestly,
this.
Ojia cannot answer
I
that.
want to say
Do you
this.
recommend to
Excuse
That's
me,
what I'm
guys.
saying.
Excuse me, guys. Just tone down. Just tone down.
Yes.
Ojia, you can't answer
I
that.
can't
We are
answer that
only
because I'm
worrying.
not a
We are only
commissioner.
worrying.
No, I'm not a commissioner. I'm not a commissioner. I cannot answer that question. If I come out of this, bring a commissioner in IBC to answer that question. What I'm simply saying, if you want IBC to do something or to carry referendum, which you need actually to reflect what you want, number one, you must also actually own up things which you've done wrong. Because as we are talking, you can still go on and get good signatures. But instead of doing that, because of your militant tendency which you have, you've created, and you think that everything you can only be created in the street battle. You are losing.
Why are you talking about the militant sense?
No, I'm talking.
No,
But you see,
when people
want to go for mass action, people want to do this. IEBC has done. It's not helping.
When you highlight
mass action,
when you highlight
mass action has to be
My
militant.
friend, there was a time when actually we are looking for new constitution and we are running down the street so that we get it. But you see, at the end of the day, if you want people to go for referendum, get it right. But if you are getting it wrong, then you start blaming people. So that's what I'm simply saying. Cardinal knew that the books they took to IEBC were not correct, and they wanted to create stalemate that they start creating confusion.
Those are just allegations. Those are allegations of the Jubilee,
Mr. Gitonga, these books, you must give us a
allegations of
clear.
Kotwale and the Kasakaja type.
Yeah.
You know, that's rhetoric that you buy. You say that it's not gonna wash. It's not gonna wash. Don't you don't want to make Kenyans believe that our secretariat was so useless that they cannot really tell that names have been repeated at 50%. Actually, of the names have been they are double registered.
Even 20%, actually.
Let's
even 20%.
Okay, now I think let us leave the votes and the signatures and all that to Okoa Kenya Secretariat and IBC to square out.
Yes.
But now, as leaders and people who've been in this country and can give opinions that actually Kenyans are watching right now, IBC just this very week got some very hard-hitting reflection from Parliamentary Accounts Committee, that actually gave a chronology of accounts of how the BVR kits were bought, and the report doesn't look so good in the eyes of IBC. In fact, the recommendations are there should be a lifestyle audit to the commissioners, and it's pointed out on people like Oswago, Hassan, somebody like Sharawe, somebody like the commissioners.
Okay.
Now, politics aside, this is now a parliamentary report. Still, it gives an integral part of its verdict on the behavior of the commissioners. And looking at integrity terms, do you think the IBC that we've got right now, having been mentioned by Parliament, mentioned by politicians, everybody here and there, they've been struggling to make their image look good. How does it now augur to them? Does it really augur well for this commission?
The question is, we need to ask, and Nick, that one is a very sober question, which need also a sober answer.
Yeah.
In the sense that, if there's a report which has come out from Parliament, which actually now making IEBC looking ugly, we need to deal with that report without politicizing it.
Absolutely.
Yes, without politicizing it. But you see, when you go to IEBC and you see the character of Oswago as a person, then now that bad, you want to give it a tag. He's doing it, they are not independent, the government's doing what, and all such kind of things. Let's deal with these things well. If there is allegation and in fact can be justified, some things which can be justifiable, then let us deal with this as Kenyans standing here talking about individuals. And now the question we need to ask, remember, and there's a issue here since 1992 up to now with 2013. The only place the so-called opposition were very much satisfied about the electoral commission in this country was 2002. All of them, they were narrative.
Okay,
you've stole the election, you've done this.
This is not about opposition or the...
No, by that time.
We are looking at IEBC now. Can we contribute to on this report that actually came out of Parliament just this week about the way IBC is right now and the commissioners and how they've been mentioned adversely on corruption matters? Yes. In fact, it went on to say that somebody like Ezra Chiloba must return 252 million shillings and must not hold again any other public office. These are serious indictments.
Oja starts very well. Said it needs a sober It's
Yeah.
a sober response. And he goes,
you
contrary to
see,
that.
and then-
He starts talking about I don't know what, I don't know
Okay,
that, about the
let's debate,
opposition.
okay.
The issue is, honestly, even the most jubilated person, they know there has been issues about IEBC from the word go.
Yes.
The only thing that IEBC is the one that conducted the referendum. I think so, isn't it? 2010. Yes, that's about the only.
That was
IEBC.
Yes.
Okay. Since they came into office, the IEBC now of this it has had issues time and time again, and it has not really passed the test at any one time. Whether even during the by-elections or whether during the general elections, the IEBC, the people, even the people themselves, they have issues that have to do with their integrity, as it came with the chicken gate issues. But the way the BVRs were bought and the way they were used, those were a serious indictment on the IEBC. And if Kenyans really want us, the Jubilee government wanted to be seen to be credible, they should not be pushing for us to have elections like we had in Uganda. If they believe they are so popular,
No, election
I don't know
Uganda
why.
cannot come in this
I don't know. I
country.
don't
There was
know.
no-
I
that
don't
was
know
not
why.
an
I don't know why they are
election,
not. I don't know why they are also
Okay.
not pushing for
For
a
what?
fair referee.
You guys, I know you are politically charged guys. I know everything you say must end up in politics. But I want a sober debate on exactly, put politics aside. Looking at IEBC, which is an independent body charged with a very, very monumental task of discharging elections in this country.
Yes.
We can't imagine that all this indictment, all these matters of allegations flying here and there about IEBC are good enough to take us forward. What must be done? Because I want to take refuge in the Parliamentary Accounts Committee report that something has to be done about this. If a commissioner is supposed to be investigated, public officer ethics says, step aside.
But I think-
if you are mentioning things like this is what we say, Jayo. This country, this debate actually, this debate is supposed to inform Kenyans,
Now,
not only give the political.
No,
side of
I
these things.
agree.
What do we do? What do we do
No,
going
the question
forward?
is, if there was a report, according to you, which section tells the commissioner to step aside? Do you have any provision in the law?
I'm talking about the public
It's
ethics
a public,
officer.
Yes, that's what I'm asking.
I'm not talking about a section of the report.
Sorry?
I'm not talking about section of the report. I'm talking about now. You've been mentioned
You've been mentioned. Now, by the way, you can be mentioned, but at the end of the day, we must actually follow the law. We are not in the jungle.
Even Bruce Odhiambo has resigned as the chair of.
Thank you.
Yeah, because
but
it's been mentioned
what
in
happened?
the youth fund
I'm
saga.
saying the question is, Nani, do you know that if, like for example, I would like to see Tunui actually leaving court without even going for tribunal, first of all stepping aside, but because he has refused as a person. You get the point? Now you cannot get Tunui out of court because you can't push him out. Yeah. It's about now individual. It's not about Jubilee or court. So as we are talking, there's already report. Yeah? The person now want to say, if you ask them, those are just report and allegations, which actually, unless you follow the law, maybe now the person who has come with the report, where do we need to go with that report? Is it creating a commission so that they can inquire, or do we go to court? So that should be the question as a nation.
We leave it for lawyers. I know. Yes. I know you are doing law. You might be in a position to tell us that next time. Now, what's your verdict about this? IBC, and with all these accusations flying around and people reading for the elections and integrity matters here and there, things look so murky inside here. What's your take as we wind down the discussion?
The only fair thing for IBC and for the commissioners at the IBC to do now, if at all we are going to have anything close to a fair contest, okay, to not necessarily be fair, even if we replace them, but if at all we are going to have anything, close to a fair contest, the commissioners should resign immediately, okay, so that they give room for Kenyans now to reconstitute that body again. And we already have people of integrity.
It is voluntary.
Yes, we have people of integrity who can take over. And for instance, now Nani is resigning, is retiring soon. Our Chief Justice.
Yes,
he would be a very, very, very good candidate for the chair of IEBC.
So that one
William Mutunga?
the verdict in court was not good.
Yes.
Hey, that's so interesting.
Yeah, William Mutunga for
you will propose him for that.
Yes.
That's a personal take. Anyway, there's nothing much you can say about this. What did you see? Just don't even take a half a second over the week, please. In conclusion.
Now, what I saw is actually again about the IEBC thing. When now Court Brigade are calling themselves for mass action, but actually they've caught red-handed, giving IEBC things which are fake, instead of actually taking that responsibility back to their home secretariat. It was a very sad thing, kind of a thing. When I was seeing Comrade James Orenga used to go together with Nyong'o, sitting next to Watangola and Kalonzo Musyoka, that they want to lead us. That's a joke.
That's a joke. Yes, sir. As we coolly
Of course, everything in Jubilee is a joke because the guys are jokers from the top. You know, the guys are jokers. You saw the other day, was it yesterday? They went. Was it the CS? They went to Tanzania and invited, and he's refused entry because the guys don't even. Yeah, I can tell these guys don't even know protocol, and they're in government. on the IEBC issue, it was actually, I would say it was a very sad day for this country, not necessarily on court, because not only because of the way of their report, but even the way they handled the issue. That IEBC, instead of engaging the client first, they first go to Jubilee, then they go to the media, and then that is when they come to the client. Because it definitely, those are the signs of somebody who is already compromised. And there is no chance that we go to the next election with this IEBC.
Well said and done. Ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of this very wonderful show that today actually was spotlighting on IEBC, Okoa, Kenya, and all these integral matters that actually bedevil the electoral body as it is right now. This is a program that, like I say every day, is supposed to help us actually achieve so much in terms of information and knowledge here in LTN. Please make a point of being with us next week the same time. Don't miss out, because you'll miss out so greatly. So let's look up together. Have a wonderful, wonderful Easter holiday at home. Thank you very much. Until we meet again, guys, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.